Can't sit up front.
I know. I'm bodyguard.
Oh. No, someone's watching it for me on the stream.
Test, test. This is a test. This is a test. Test, test. 1, 2, 3.
Check, 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 check. Sorry, man. Check, 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 check. All right, hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got about 2 or 3 minutes before we get started, so if you were not in here earlier, let me tell you what's going on. We are going to have 5 top-level disc golf pros, and we're going to have Jeremy Rusko, the owner of Dynamic Disc, up on the stage to answer your questions. However, we'd like for you to write those questions down so that we can keep them coming without having to bounce all over the room to get to people. So right back here on this table, we have note cards and pens. If you have a question that you would like to ask one of these guys or just disc golf professionals in general, please write them down, and we'll ask them in the order that we receive them and as it flows along. So please take some time. We got a couple minutes before we get started, and we'll get started here in about 2 minutes or so, okay? So 2 minutes! All right.
Pass it out. Yes, it's going to be folded up from over here, and then we'll put it in.
let me say welcome to Emporia. Dynamic Disc is happy that you're here to see their home base and to see what they can do. Probably a lot of you guys have played a DD tournament somewhere else in the country, but now you get to come to the home turf and see how they really put it together well. So as we get started here tonight, you can still write down questions if there's something else that you want to talk about, and we will try to get those into the flow. We want to welcome everybody that is watching the live stream that Bobby has set up there. So how it's going to work tonight, we're going to read through these questions, and we have these fantastic men up here to answer them for you. So let me introduce our panel. First up, guys, I'm just going to say your name, and if you would give 15, 20 seconds about where you're living at, how long you've been playing golf, that sort of stuff. And if you just want to pass that microphone back and forth to whoever. So right here, coming from the northern regions of the country, I'm not exactly sure where, Minnesota maybe, this is Cale LaVisca. Welcome him, please.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Cale LaVisca. Thank you, Dixon.
LaVisca, like I said.
Okay. Perfect. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm very honored to be here. This is a tournament I look forward to every year. The town of Emporia really rallies around this. The community is so strong here, and it's really an honor to be here and to be up here in front of you guys. So thanks for having me, and I hope we answer your questions correctly. Thank you.
Next up, we have Eric McCabe.
Hello. I live 6 blocks from here. Right by the country. Thank each and every one of you for coming out to my tournament. Something we started 12 years ago, and it's blossomed into something amazing. This year being no exception. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm Paul Macbeth from Huntington Beach, California. I've been playing this sport for 10 years now, so it's been quite a while, but I just want to thank the DD crew for putting on this event. You know, I've seen it grow over the years, and what they've done with the sport and their company, it amazes me. So thank you guys for coming out.
Next up, we have Avery Jenkins.
What's up, guys? So, yeah, as far as where I'm living living at Discmania Motorhome out in the parking lot. I've been actually on the road for the last 14 years, continuous on tour, and still making it happen. Road warrior out there. But yeah, on the off season, I live in Rancho Cucamonga, California, SoCal, and it's actually nice to be back in Glassbone Open for Emporia, at the Emporia for Glassbone Open, and it's good to actually be here when there's temperatures above 60 degrees. Because every other time it's been really windy and really cold and really miserable. So hopefully it's really nice, and looking forward to some great weather and some great play this weekend.
All right. Next up, in case you don't recognize this babyface youngster, this is Dave Feldberg.
Hi, I'm Dave. Most of you know me. I've been traveling for years. I guess currently I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and nice place to spend your winters. If you want to be a pro disc golfer, find Scottsdale, Arizona, place to practice. And I just want to let Avery know, 75 and sunny this weekend, buddy.
All right. And last up, we have a guy not known for throwing the disc, but for bringing thousands and thousands and thousands of discs to you guys. This is Jeremy Rusko, owner of Dynamic Discs.
Oh, man. Well, I don't quite have the world championship titles that these guys have over here. I feel kind of weird being up here on stage. But, guys, thank you so much for being here this weekend. Looking forward to a great week. I cannot believe we've got such great weather that we're going to have and so many players here in town. This is a record turnout, record event, and thank you again.
All righty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, okay, so here's what we want to do. Here on the stage, we have, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have 5 world championships, at least 2 USDGC championships, and I think close to 20 national tour wins here on stage. And then we have Rusko there on the end. So what we want to do is, this is a wealth of knowledge right here. Probably, geez, it's got to be 75-something years worth of throwing discs between these guys, okay? So this is a lot of knowledge. We want you to be able to ask your questions. So one of the first questions that we came across, and this will go for all of you guys, so feel free to just whoever has the mic start talking. The question is, advice for not mentally freaking out when people are watching you play? So, somebody, all of you guys have done amazing. Okay, raise your hand in here if you have watched at least one of these guys on YouTube. Okay, so you've all seen them do. It wasn't these guys throwing out of bounds, right? You didn't pull up that video. You watched their good video. Okay, so you guys have excelled in front of the camera. What can you tell the crowd?
My advice, because the first couple times it can be pretty nerve-wracking, but my advice is that when people are watching you, everyone genuinely wants you to do well and make the shot. So I try to use everyone as fuel and try to understand that the people want me to do well. So just try to put on a good show, have fun, and execute for everyone. And yeah, that's my advice.
I know for me at least, I tend to stay a little bit more focused when I'm playing in front of a crowd. I tend to play a little bit better, except that one year at the Memorial. But for the most part, yeah, it's just stay in the moment and don't play out of your character.
And my advice is pretty similar to Kale's. When there's a gallery out there, they want to come watch some good golf. So it's really just going out there relaxing and throwing the shots that you go out there and practice and that you're prepared for. So I think it's just feeding off that crowd and letting them push you and support all the players out there, and yeah, just.
Okay, here, let me ask a question specifically about technique. Several questions have come in. Avery and Paul, you guys are probably more famous for this than the rest of these guys. It's what's the technique for throwing a good forehand? And we have discs on the side. We have baskets right there. Yeah, Eric, that's when you lean to the side and you throw it like this. Okay, all right. So you guys, feel free. How can one of these guys throw a good forehand? What are some good tips to get started?
Well, first off, it's I think the most important part about throwing a forehand shot is really just committing to the angle of the shot. Everybody has a tendency to really try to force over shots, try to throw harder than they really need to, and a lot of times just really rolling that arm over, rolling that wrist over, and getting those forehand rollers out there, turnover shots and such. And it's really committing to the line, committing to the angle, and letting it fly. It's a very natural shot. It replicates a lot of the sports we play in this country, baseball to football, using the side of your body, using your side of your arm, and using your whole body to throw the disc. And seriously, commit to the angle. Just go out there and throw it as much as possible. Even if you're messing around, throwing your disc back to your bag, playing catch, just go through the repetitions, go through the motions, and you'll lock it down.
I wanted to touch real quick on what they said about playing in front of a crowd. Most of them gave me the same advice, but I have a completely different thought about it. How I look at it is you're going to come in contact with the crowd in disc golf. There's too many people around you. They're very close. They're crossing the fairways. They're not in their own area. And so what I've come to do is find one or two people in the crowd that I know and make friends with them or know them and talk to them the whole round. I just walk by them every hole. I did good there, right? Yeah, you made that one. Just keep talking to that one guy and just be in the zone. Realize that it's maybe one or two people watching you, not 60. And that happens all the time. I've had many people come up to me after the round and be like, dude, that was so awesome watching you play today. And I was like, you were there? All right, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so that's the technique. If you really want to get above in a crowd and you've asked basketball players and stuff, they forget they're there. If you remember they're there, then they're going to be a problem.
Okay, Emac, you are known for being a very straight, a very hard putter. Why do you choose that when some other people throw quite a lofted hyzer putt? Why do you choose a spin putt?
I choose. How many people here is their first glass blown open? First off, all right. Well, a lot
Holy
of people.
Cow. Hey, welcome.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, and Eric,
aren't...
we have for all you guys. If there's a question that you feel would be good to stand up, we have discs in the baskets. If you want to demonstrate something, feel free to hop up and do that.
Well, a lot of people here that just rose their hand aren't going to understand how windy it is here this weekend, probably. So for me, I just always developed the spin putt and throwing it in there as opposed to pitching it or pushing it in there, because I mean honestly, does the push putt work very well in the wind? I mean you can make it work, but spin putting definitely works a lot better in the wind. And growing up right here in Emporia, Kansas, that's definitely how I had to learn how to putt. That's why King Climo's never been here.
I thought that was just because he hated the Kansas Jayhawks. Okay, hey Kale, you are unique in the disc golf professional world because you also run a business at the same time that you're trying to be out and play tournaments. How do you balance the two?
Well, I do own a pro shop in St. Paul called Airborne, and essentially what we tried to build was just a place that I would enjoy being at, and a place that I would enjoy playing at. We kind of put up nets so people can throw in there. So honestly, when I'm at home, it is a pro shop, but I also get to practice a lot in there. I get to talk disc golf with a lot of people. I get to play in the shop. And through the long Minnesota winter this year, it was nice being able to take some putts indoors, because I think it's still snowing up there. So there's Goodrich in the back. There we are. But yeah, it's I love disc golf. It's a passion of mine. So I get to play in cities all over the country, and when I'm at home, I get to talk disc golf and be a part of it at home too. It's great.
Thank you. Okay, Jeremy. I think every year at the Glassbone, I think this is my 4th or the 5th one that I've come to. Every year, DD is bigger. The first year I came, I went to your basement to see discs, and then it was a little shop, and then it was a big shop, and then it was 2 big shops, and now there's a distribution center. How did Dynamic Disc go from a kid dying frisbees to sell on eBay however many years ago to what DD is right now?
A whole bunch of good people, having the right people in the right places for sure, and a heck of a lot of support amongst the entire disc golf community. I never expected it to be, never expected it for Dynamic Discs to be anything more than a college hobby. And Dixon's right; it's continued to grow, and I don't think that we'll have a 3rd building for next year, but we might have the other part of the building that we're currently in. So it's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun, and really appreciate all the support that everybody's been giving us.
We've got a couple of well, one silly question. What would you do for a Klondike bar was the first one. The second one, I don't know if this goes for everybody, but Avery, somebody is specifically asking for your phone number. So I mean, so yeah, do with that what you will. Okay, so you're in a tournament and you have just thrown a bad shot. I mean, you're gonna have to imagine this, right? Because I know you guys don't throw bad shots. But picture you're Jeremy, okay? And you've just thrown a bad shot, okay? And it's an important. Let's say it's the final round of an important tournament. You've just thrown a bad shot. How do you move on from that?
I took it from a few books I read over the years. One thing that I'd recommend, and I know you have to be careful how you do it because you can go the wrong way with people, but don't take blame until after the round. When you're at home, then realize you need to work on this or that. But during the shot, if you yank it to the right or you miss slightly and you say, "Oh God, I'm just terrible. Just terrible player," well then your confidence is going to go boosh, and then the next shot's going to be even worse. What you need to say is, "Oh, I guess I flipped my wrist or my foot slipped. I'll do it better next time." And if you have that belief that it wasn't you in the moment, then the next shot you can go back to being the you that you were before that bad shot.
Yeah, along those same lines is really, it's hard. It's harder. It's easier said than done a lot of times. But to forget that shot is very hard. But if you could just really commit to the next shot and not let that last shot affect you. Like I said, easier said than done. But that most important shot is that very next shot, and you gotta bite your lip out sometimes and really just realize that it's going to happen. Of all the good shots you have, you're going to have one that does get away from you. And, the ones that step away and don't let it affect them as much are usually the ones that walk away with the victory. So don't let it affect you as much as it should, and you'll see other people throwing bad shots out there too. Just don't let it affect you as much.
Yeah, I mean, with the last shot, for me, it's just knowing that I can't take it back. I got to play it where it lies and, focus on the next shot. I'm going to contradict Dave, and I like to take blame for my shots because it just tells me that I need to focus more for the remaining shots that I have ahead of me and just move on from there.
For me, it's just having a very short memory.
I concur. Now, I was just going to say, Avery touched on being real even keel out there. If you ever look at Paul when he's playing, you can't tell if he's just throwing a poor shot, a great shot. He always looks very even keeled, and that consistency, that's what it's all about.
Okay, we still got some more questions right here. If you've just come in, we are taking the opportunity. You can ask questions. Miles back here, if you raise your hand, Miles, he's got some cards. If there's a question you want to ask, raise your hand. He will come over and hand you a card. You don't even have to get up. Look at what Dynamic Disc is doing for you. Oh, yeah, if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on the live stream, feel free to send in those questions. We'll get you Avery's phone number. Just text them to you here in a second. He'll pass them on to us. No, just type them right there in the comments, and Bobby will take a look, and he will get them to me. Okay, so you guys are in town. We are playing three courses here. If you're going to a tournament and you don't know anything about the courses, how do you adapt that?
Go ahead. Start up.
Well, okay, Paul, since you're holding the microphone. How do you adapt to a new course if you're going to be on card, keeping score here in just a couple hours?
No practice?
No practice. No practice.
I don't know. I don't like to do that. I did it once this year, and it's not fun.
So then your advice is to not do that. There you go. All right. That's how you avoid the sticky situation.
That's the beauty of Paul. He gets to town on like Monday before, so. For me, I'm going to see this weekend. I know I know these courses, but I also have not had a lot of time practicing these courses. I didn't play at all today, actually. I played one round yesterday real quick, and so it's really just about playing it hole for hole, shot for shot, you know, being aware of what's going on. We'll look at the tee signs, look at the caddy books, walk down the fairway if you have to before the shot, know where the OB is, know where you want to be, know where you don't want to be, and proceed from there.
Okay.
Who didn't practice the course this week? Who asked that question? So really what it comes down to, I think the most important part for me is you've thrown these shots before. If you practice any course out there, you go out to the field, you've thrown these shots at 250, 350, you know, you've thrown these distances at different angles. And reading tee signs, like Eric said, knowing the distance of the hole is very key. I hold distances to a very high standard, and you go out there, and if you know the distance and you can gauge your shots on that, knowing how far you throw your mid-range, your driver, and so forth, going out there and just put it in the middle, playing your game. There's a lot of birdies out there, but man, there's a lot of long holes, and I'll just get prepared. When you go out to that country club, there's a lot of long holes. Put it down the middle, get as far down that fairway as you can, and take it from there, but be patient. Don't force anything out there, and good luck.
Okay, Avery, so let me piggyback on that real quick. So you talked about knowing the distances. When you step up to a shot, say it's a long second shot, okay? You're not standing next to a tee sign. You don't have a yardage right there. Do you try to calculate how many feet there are between you and the basket, or is it a feel thing? Do you just say, from here to there, I think I need to throw my T-bird, and you throw it, or do you think, okay, that tree is 50 feet, that tree is 100 feet, 175, 300, and do you calculate it like that, or are you feeling it?
I think I gauge more on the distance from the object to the basket at that distance than I do from where I am to the basket, if that makes sense. I see more like I'll know where that tree is, and I know it's 50 feet longer than the basket and slightly 20 feet right. I'll gauge it that way and feel that if I can throw within that tree to the basket, I get, you know, at least a 20-footer. But distances are very key, very important, and especially when you have a par 4. If you have a distance markers in the fairway, like golf does, I think it's a very good advantage to have, knowing the distances and knowing how far you got to throw it. And I can gauge pretty good at 3, 3 1/4, 350, and know what that feels like.
Okay. Dave, are you technical, or are you feeling it?
I mean, I don't think so, actually. Me and Avery traveled together for, I don't know, 10 years or something daily, and when you asked them a question, I started smiling because, you know, he said he gauges the tree, but honestly, he throws it, it says 322, and if he doesn't think it's 322, he goes, no, that was 335. Okay? Now, I on the other hand couldn't tell you the difference between 322 and 335 if I walked it. Okay? So I just look at the shot and I can make it, and I've always wondered to myself, how do these pros do that? We've never actually studied the psychological side of the game yet, and it's not been around long enough. But how is it that Paul McBeth can walk up to a shot he's never seen, take one glance, throw and land 2 feet, walk up to the next hole he's never seen it, throw the same disc 2 feet? How? I don't quite know, and I think it's most of it is from your practice, and your mind's doing it for you, and you're not actually calculating. And when you get to that level of comfortability, it just happens. And I think that a lot of players don't trust that they have that comfortability, and they try to make measurements, and that I find it more difficult to be like, oh, it's 35 feet past that, do that. You have to just know it, and then subconsciously it'll take over for you.
And I think Paul's pretty good too. I think that would factor in. That's how he does it when I look at him.
Yeah, I mean.
Hey, but yeah, I agree with you. I'm good. Yeah. Okay, so on those days when you step up to a shot and you know you can make the shot, but you just can't make the shot that day, you're just off. You don't really know what's wrong, but you're not able to do what you thought you could do. How do you recover from a day like that? Do you go practice, or do you just say, forget it, I'm better than that, I'll play better tomorrow?
You can definitely take both routes. But I think going out and practicing, if you have the time, is definitely the way to go. If you got some kinks in your game, it's easier to figure it out that night than hopefully wake up the next morning and it be fixed.
Okay, so this is a question that is especially relevant here in Kansas. Do you prefer, if you got a 20-mile-an-hour wind on your 30-foot putt, what direction do you want the wind coming from?
Right at my face.
Okay, tough guy. Why's that?
Mainly because a headwind, for my style of putting, I know it's going to lift. And I know if I aim at the basket and aim a little lower and putt hard enough, it's going to lift. And you can justify that. But for me, when I get to a tailwind, it's going to slam, and I don't know how much it's going to slam or when it's going to slam. So for me personally, my putting, I prefer a headwind.
Somebody disagree with him. Why?
I would pick the exact opposite.
In your face, Eric.
I have more of a lofty pitch putt, and the headwinds can be quite terrifying sometimes.
Well, here, Kale, real quick. Describe a pitch putt.
A pitch putt.
Feel free to demonstrate.
Stand up. So a pitch putt, whereas someone like EMAC uses a lot of spin with the wrist, a pitch putt is more of an up and down motion with the arm, and you still have some spin on the disc, obviously, with the wrist, but mine is more up and down and lofty. So for me, I prefer tailwinds because I know the wind is going to drop it, and I just have to commit to getting it up nice and high. Whereas for me in a headwind, it can be difficult to do. If I don't keep it perfectly flat, the wind will either drop it or lift it, and it can get a little squirrely. So I definitely would prefer a tail.
Okay, so you've gotten real good at a pitch putt, but you just said there's difficulties to doing it. Why do you choose a pitch putt instead of a spin putt?
When I started my career, I was actually a spin putter, and I just had too many days where I'd be off and I'd be missing 30 feet deep and having to make a lot of comebackers. And I just felt like a pitch putt would be a little bit more consistent, would leave me shorter comebackers, and it's still a work in progress. It took me a couple years to commit to that, but since I feel like my game has become a little more consistent. I do definitely still go back to the spin putt on days when I need it, when it's can be windy like down here in Emporia. So it's a great weapon to have, and if I could putt as good as EMAC, I probably would still.
So then your conclusion is that spin putters are better than loft putters, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, so another question. We have a lot of questions coming in about putts. Where does your jump putt start? Like, at what distance does it start, and why does it start there? Why do you use a jump putt instead of a throw on a longer distance?
I start my jump putt probably 38 feet, and the reason for that is that my stroke of the pitch putt that they're talking about is one of the old school ones, so we didn't bring it between our legs. So my stroke stops right at my knee. So for me to accelerate over 38, 40 feet with my push putt, I have to jerk it. I have to give it all this effort, and I'm not very accurate. I miss high and low all the time. But at 37 and in, that's my stroke down to my knee. It's golden. You look at the Saki bombs of the world, he can stretch down all the way down between his legs, or Nico, and they hoist up that push putt from 70 feet. That's because that stroke is so long. That's why I go out to jump putt, just so I can get it there.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar to that. Around 40 feet is where I feel comfortable, trying to get a little more power, a little more push on my body for the push putt, because it really comes down to using your arm to guide it, but your body to push it and deliver it. And Yeah, for us that pitch putt, like Kale, I'm sure probably on the same range. Spin putters can range out a lot farther because they have so much more velocity on it, and usually a little more effective in the wind at times. But there is that, advantage disadvantage kind of thing about keeping it close to the basket on misses, especially a 30-footer in the wind. You cash that any which way you do it. That's an awesome putt to do in the wind. But if you're going to spin it, push it, whatever, you just don't hate to miss that and have something, marginal of some distance coming back at it. So 40 feet would probably be my push putt range. Anything outside that as well.
Okay, along that same line, Paul, at what point do you stop practicing putts? Like at what distance? Is it useful to practice a 70-foot putt?
Not as much as inside the circle putts. Nowhere near. 70-foot putts, I'll probably practice maybe once every 2 weeks. So
Just think, if you practice them every day, you'd hit 10 out of 10 instead of 9 out of 10.
maybe. That's
Okay, so guys, the disc golf calendar is kind of just getting into high gear. We've had a couple of big tournaments already this year, but most of the national tour, the majors, worlds, DGC, all of that's out in front of us. What are you looking forward to this year? I want everybody to answer this. What are you looking forward to?
the GBO.
Look at that guy. Those trophies are just for demonstration. You don't get one just for saying things like that.
A tournament that I am definitely looking forward to is the World Championships this year in Portland. It's always, it's a tournament that every top disc golfer wants to win, and Portland happens to be a favorite city of mine and a favorite region to be. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'll be out there at least a week early for that. Can't wait.
I've got a couple. Of course, this week, something I look forward to every year. And the other one is actually a Dynamic Discs event, too, going on in Arlington, Texas on July 12th.
What's going on in Arlington, Texas on July 12th?
There's a football team in Dallas. I don't know if anybody's heard of them, but Jerry Jones's house. We're going to run a disc golf tournament right there at Jerry Jones' house, AT&T Stadium, on July 12th. So more info coming soon on that, and that's something I'm really looking forward to this year.
Honestly, the next tournament I'm looking forward to is the Japan Open, first major of the year. The switching to the 150 class disc will definitely be a new experience, and I think it'll be fun going to a new country, and traveling with someone like EMAC is always a blast.
Especially with a limited schedule that I play these days, I look forward to each and every weekend for tournaments especially, but I especially look forward to all the majors we're playing this year, being the Japan Open, being the European Masters in Sweden this year, and then being the World Championships in Portland this year, and then the USDGC. Right now, I really look forward to going back to Japan after 4 years later.
I'm kind of similar to Avery. I know it sounds strange, but I play in a lot of tournaments, but a lot of times I wake up on Saturday morning and I just don't feel it. I go out there because I love the game, but I'm just not feeling the competition, and it's only these major championships like he's mentioning and maybe a few national tours. So I look forward to playing in front of those because we're playing in front of the people, and people are paying attention to it, and it means something. And as you get older, you only got so many more performances. So I only look forward to the major championships, and I play in these events to hang out with friends and family.
Jeremy, what are you looking forward to this year? What's DD got going on?
Well, I retired sometime last year after some of the worst disc golf in the history of me playing. I'm definitely looking forward to AT&T Stadium. Hope several people here can come join us down there, having a great time there. And I look forward to the events where there's the most people. Just got done with Bowling Green Amateur Championships, and that was a heck of a time with all the amateur players there. And then the World Championships, whether it's amateur side or pro side, that's as much as a family reunion as it is a disc golf event, and that's what means so much to me since I'm not a player anymore. It's all about getting everybody together. And the Glass Blown Open, of course, it's great to have so many players here. So that's what I look forward to.
Cool, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the crowd, one thing I asked these guys ahead of time was to think about one shot in their career that was either really cool, fun, or really important. And I want them to kind of tell the story. And so what each of them has done is they've gotten with me, and all of these have a video that go along with it. So what we want to do now is we want to show you their videos and give them a chance to talk about why this shot was important, or what was the big deal about it, or just why it was fun, what was cool about it, something like that. So actually, we're going to start with Dave. Dave told me about this video called A Day with Dave at Dexter. So this is Dave stepping. Well, here, Dave, you tell the story. What's going on, and why is this a shot that you recommended? Tell us what's going on here. Tell the story behind it, and why did you recommend this particular shot?
Well, I'm not sure where you're going to start this video, but if
it's going to be when you walk up on the tee box.
I'm about to lay on my face. Is that where?
No, this is a good shot.
Oh,
so here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm about to lay on my face, and what this was, when you're an up-and-coming player and you're at the top, people get equipment and they're like excited. I'm sure it's like these guys have had. And a guy came to my house and he said, "Hey, I just bought this $3,000 red camera. Let's go out to the course." And as you can see, I didn't think it would ever be anything big. I'm wearing nothing nice. I head out. It's rainy, but for some reason, every shot I threw that day went in. And these are all first takes. He did not edit it, have me stand there and throw all these shots. I literally threw in every hole an 80-footer, an ace. And then at the end, you'll see what happens. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I watched this video, and you're not kidding. You threw in everything. I was wondering if these were first takes. This was all first takes?
Yeah, I went out, and it's my local course. He's like, throw the roller. I throw the roller, then throw the hyzer. We walk to both lines. Okay, putt them both. Ching, ching. All right.
Okay, so here we go. I think this is hole 7, I think.
Oh, yeah, this is I walk up, and the guy's like, "Well, it's gone pretty good today, Dave. Can you throw me an ace?" That's exactly what he says if you listen quietly.
Okay, so this is at Dexter. Where's Dexter at?
Dexter's in Oregon.
Eugene,
Oregon, and it's probably one of the most difficult wooded courses in the United States that isn't a par 60 or higher.
Okay, well, let's see what happens with David Dexter.
Hole 10. They call it Shoot the Moon.
So if you guys would have spent a day with Dave at Dexter, you would have seen that.
Yep.
Okay, so Paul, we're going to move on to you next. Paul recommended a clip from the 2011 Memorial Championships. So this is on hole 17. Paul's already thrown his drive, so take it away, Paul. Why is this an important shot for you?
Oh, this is my first national tour. Well, not my first national tour, but the one I was in position to finally win. And during that round, I threw a couple shots in the water, and they all happened to be my destroyers, which is a pretty vital disc out there for myself. And so I was pretty much down to my roller destroyer. And this was, I think, the longest par 3 on the course. And I absolutely just threw the perfect shot in that situation. And the putt I'm about to have is in my head. I knew if I made it, I would have a chance to win this tournament, and I think I was still a kid, but.
So do you remember how many strokes down? Were you down at this point? Were you up?
I absolutely have no clue. I know Josh Anton was shooting the course record round, and I think it was something like that. But I just knew I had to birdie out to win. And
okay, so here he goes. He's on 17. He's stepping up. I think this is about a 40-footer or so, Paul.
I don't even remember.
Okay, well, let's watch the video. Yeah. Yeah, when he said that, I expected you to fall over dead at that point. But so, yeah, actually, I did look it up, Paul. You were 1 stroke ahead. That gave you a 2-stroke lead going into the last hole. So, yes, that was an extremely important putt. And I think for me, I remember Paul when he was, like, in 2011 and stuff. I mean, now he's McBeast. I mean, he's a 2-time world champion. He wins stuff all the time. But to think that just a couple of years ago, here he is sweating a 40-foot putt to win his first big tournament, that's not a whole lot of time between now and then for what he's accomplished. So what that should tell the rest of us is practice can turn you into a 2-time world champ. I mean, it really is that simple. So next up, Mr. McCabe. This is a clip from the 2010 World Championships. Tell us what's going on. Why is this an important shot?
Well, this was the final 9. and it was a really weird Worlds for me actually. I only played on the lead card, I think, the semifinal round, because the round before that, I think I played with Dave, and we were neck and neck going into the last 3 holes, and I think I went 2-2-2, he went 4-4-4, or something like that, and they were really easy holes. No, I'm just kidding. Only one of them was really easy. That surprised me that he bogeyed, but this is during the actual finals, and I honestly don't remember what my lead was at this point, but I did know that this putt was very important. I think I had 2 holes to go, and for me, this is the putt that won it for me.
All right, let's see it.
That putt looked a lot longer in person, too.
It's the camera angle. That was like 90 feet, right?
Yeah,
that was huge.
See, I don't jump putt. That question earlier, I jump putt from outside 100, so that, you know.
Okay, so that was like 98 or so, right? Okay, well, this next one is a jump putt. This is Kale's video. Kale, take this away. If you haven't ever seen this next video, I think this might be the best individual disc golf clip on the internet. I've watched this video a lot. Okay, so Kale, take it away. What's going on in this tournament?
Okay, this is the clip I chose was from 2007 Minnesota Majestic. I think these guys could agree up here that the Minnesota Majestic crowd is always very rambunctious, especially for me, you know, being the hometown player. And I had won the previous year in 2006, and this is 2007, and I was 3 strokes down to Ken Climo in this final 9, and I kept on scrapping back, got it to within 1 stroke on the last hole. And you can see what happens after this, I guess.
So Ken's already under the basket for the par,
yeah,
right?
Ken is already laid up for, so he's got a drop in 3, and I had about a 70, 65-foot putt for the deuce to tie him.
All right, so this is to tie to go into the finals, or to go into overtime, pretty much.
This is not the putt.
Not that. That's just a clip of Kale throwing. He's so handsome. We need to look at him more often.
Yeah, it was about a 440-foot shot downhill. And here I am stepping up.
And he's out of here, folks. That was to tie. Okay, Avery, tell us the story behind this putt. This is from the 2009 Worlds, is that right?
2009's in Kansas City, right up the road.
Okay, so do you remember what the score was right here?
So better yet, it was like about an hour after Valerie won her 3rd world title. So
Who's Valerie? Tell us who Valerie is.
So Valerie, she won her 3rd world title, and we made a promise before the Worlds that we were both going to win. And so she held up her end of the bargain. It was about me holding up my end of the bargain, and it went from a 2-stroke lead going in the final round, a 2-stroke lead, battled through 9 holes, and Josh Anthon tied me up. And we actually went to a 5-hole sudden death playoff for the world title. And it came down to this. This was a putt I waited my entire career for, about 20, 22 feet. He had just missed his 40-footer, and I stepped to this putt with about 2,000 in the gallery. And it was everything. It was making sure that I was going to leave everything on that course that day. And this putt was just try to make everything disappear, me in the basket at this point, and just give it everything I got, and extend, reach forward, and see what happens.
All righty.
I was leaving it all out there, trust me.
Yeah. That was Valerie that just tackled him, by the way.
Valerie, there's Felberg, there's my dad, my whole family was there gathering around, and it was amazing just to be there and experience all that. But it was everything inside me, I was letting it roar out there.
Okay, Avery, we have a follow-up question for you.
Yes.
It really is written down here. Avery, when are you going to ask Leah to marry you?
Wow.
I mean, it says anonymous on there. I don't know who wrote that. Okay, next question. Next question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, none of these guys are married. There might be 4 girlfriends walking to the table right now to write down things. Okay, so Jeremy, you own a business. You've got a wife. You've got a family, right? So how do you balance the two things? How do you do well at your business, promote disc golf, go to tournaments, and all of this stuff, and yet at the same time keep a life outside of disc golf? Is that possible for you?
Well, first of all, Dixon, I'm kind of let down that I don't have my shining disc golf moment. There isn't one. I
wasn't aware you had a shining disc golf moment. Here, put something in that basket real quick, and we'll call that it. Okay?
You got it. Obviously I have a wife who's been very, very, very supportive of this dynamic discs thing from the get-go, and sometimes it's a challenge, of course, but she's been very, very good along the process and just supported this thing all along the way. And here more recently than ever, just got the best staff, the most dedicated and most passionate staff in the disc golf world, who allows me to go home when I need to go home, or take a vacation when I need to take family vacation. And for years I missed out on family vacation. I missed out on some of those family things. And now we're fortunate enough to have the best disc golf staff in the industry, and really that's what it's been all about. So it's been great.
Okay, so something that everybody's always talking about in the disc golf world. I remember having this discussion in the year 2000. Is disc golf about to break big? Are we about to turn into the X Games? Are we about to get a big sponsor? I remember then everybody saying, oh, if we just get Coca-Cola, if we just get Ford trucks, we're going to be huge. And that was 15 years ago. Do you guys think that we're going to break? And if so, what do we need to do to break big? I'm sure Dave has an opinion here. What do you got, Dave?
I would say, every generation wants it to be big. Klein always said it was going to break. Me and Avery dreamed every day. We just, in the motorhome, we're going to be big, And now the same generation has the same issues. And I think we're getting there. It's just, this is what they consider like growing pains. And it's the fact of all the fragmentation you see around the country, and the fact that people, they want their own thing. And yet they're trying to work together. And so it's very difficult. And I think there'll come a point where people get pushed away and some people get pushed forward, and there'll be a lot of hurt feelings. And then we'll break through that growing streak. And hopefully it's the next generation. Hopefully it happens. Maybe it's the following generation. But it's going to take time, and it's not something that just happens. Everybody's just looking for it to go, boom, we're on national television. No. You have to take the time and realize that if we don't all work together, Dynamic works with Innova, Innova works with Discraft, and everybody comes together, then we're not going to make it. The fact that, maybe Dynamic will make it big, it's possible, or Innova can take us big, possible, but all together, definitely. And I think that the issue has always been what I call, I want my piece of the pie syndrome. And when we realize that there's plenty of pie for everybody, then we'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Good answer.
Now Avery, totally disagree with him now. Be like, Dave, you're wrong. Here's why.
I totally agree with that, obviously, but
oh, what a jip!
Say that. You want me to say that? No, it's definitely it's slow but sure. Everybody's always talking about the next 5 to 10, the 5 to 10, and I think we're getting there. It is you see just the expansion of courses to tournaments, and it's really about, I think, having tournaments like this and tournaments many more like this, where people take it seriously. There's a lot of tournaments out there that are for just the fun of go out there and playing, but there's actual tournaments that are about competitive disc golf and having the best players in the world attend these events and taking disc golf serious and taking it to another level. Having tournaments like this, having all the different majors that we have internationally throughout the world, and people just really committing to making this a serious sport. It's been a Frisbee sport for a long time, and I think we're all on the same plan. We want to see it go big. Will it be in the Olympics anytime soon? I doubt it. But doing things like they're talking about doing, down in Dallas, or doing parts of different festivals and setting up this golf course and just getting it out there. The more it's out there, the more people recognize it. The more recognized that we are, it hits mainstream. It's just a slow but sure process, and and keep everybody involved and working together to grow it and grow the sport.
Now, Paul, I know you have a sponsor in Oakley that's not a traditional disc golf company, and they're a big deal name. How did it come about that you got involved with a company like that outside of kind of the disc golf crowd?
Which one?
Oakley.
They're not my sponsor, but
Okay, you used to be sponsored with Oakley, right?
no, I have some friends that work pretty high up there. But I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned is they're not going to sponsor one individual athlete. They're going to sponsor a sport because they are a business and they need to be smart with their money. So they need to put money in where they're going to get money back. So it's really the sport as a group, that's going to bring these big corporate sponsors in. And it's everyone rallying behind the sport and supporting these corporate sponsors and just making contact with them and showing them the growth of the sport and how talented the players are and how much we all love the game. So it's really getting these companies to sponsor the sport more than individual players.
Okay. Eric, Hill, y'all got anything to add?
Well, just the fact that just look at the last 10 years. I've been touring for about 10 years now, and it's grown a lot just in those 10 years. So another 10 years, who knows what's going to happen? But they all hit it right when they said we all need to work together. And I also got to thank for Jeremy Resco's clip.
Okay.
Why didn't we bring Searle, quarterback, high school football?
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Jeremy Rusko was actually a pretty highly touted football player in high school. He went to college playing football on a football scholarship.
Is that on YouTube?
If you want him to prove it, try to tackle him. It's just all you got, one at a time. Try to tackle him and watch him duck, dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. Okay, so how much time would you guys say on a given week that you spend practicing?
In a given day, like I said, I do own my own shop where I get to do a lot of practicing inside. So I at least take, at least 50, 100 putts a day if I'm not going to play like a practice round. Like to keep my putting game fresh, but I don't get to play as many casual rounds as I would hope anymore. Most of the rounds I get to play are tournaments or preparing for a tournament. So I think the individual field work and the putting practice can go a long way for me right now.
Pretty much in the same boat there. Putting is the most important part of the game, so it's good to keep it dialed in. So throwing, maybe not necessarily. I don't necessarily count the putts, but spend a good half hour to an hour a day, solid putting, and going out to a field even and just throwing. I'm fortunate enough to be at the DC most of the day, and we have a nice big field right next to it. If I want to go out and just throw some shots.
Do you practice the same putt, like a 33-footer all the time, or are you moving 10, 20, all the way?
Moving around. I prefer to have a couple baskets about 33, 35 feet apart and just putt back and forth. So.
My practice really depends on the tournament. Like this one, for example, I've been here since Monday. This is when I want to win, so I want to come and learn the courses. So I'm out there every day, and I try to treat it like a real job. 9 to 5 is what people work, so I'm out there either at the course or working off the course at least 8 hours a day. And whether if I go home and play a B tier, I might not practice as much, but I'll just try to keep it smooth and keep the form good. And then something like World Championships, it's the same kind of practice, that 8 hours or more a day.
Okay, so Dave and Avery, you guys have been at this, even though, I think, except for the exception of Paul, the rest of you guys are about the same age, but you guys have been on the road for a long time. What's your sage old guy wisdom for people that haven't been playing very long? How do you go from a guy that picks up a Frisbee one day and wonders, is this a chicken cooker or what is this thing, to the point where you're winning world champions and stuff?
It's a long process, trust me. I've been playing professionally for 15 years. As a professional, I've been playing this game for 28 years, and a long time invested. But they always say to be an expert at something, you put 10,000 hours into it. 10,000 hours is a long time, and I definitely don't practice as much as I should or want to. I probably spend more time driving that motorhome out there than anything. But you have to dedicate lots of time to practice, not only on the course, but in the field, in the backyard, mentally, physically, just train to be improve as a player, and to be a good player, you need to work at it. And time dedication is really everything. It's a passion. If you want to get better and excel in the sport and you want to be a better player, you're going to give everything. You're going to sacrifice a few things. And definitely me and him, as long as it's traveling and playing as professionals, we had some sacrifices, but was it worth it in the end? I think it is. So all in all, practice, dedication, and love for the passion of the game.
Whether you believe it or not, unless I'm playing the course for the tournament lately, I don't practice at all. Zero. Not a single practice putt in the backyard, nothing. And the thought process behind that is that, like he said, the 10,000 hours, that really happens. I had a young pro come up to me this last weekend in New Mexico, and he said, I was with you all week. I didn't see you take a practice shot. You beat me by 20. You want to explain to me what happened there? I don't get it. I'm practicing 10 hours a day. And I said, well, he goes, how can you can just make them if you're not practicing? And it just, what I would recommend is you have to do the practice at some point. At some point, you got to get the 10,000 hours in. And then once you get there, you'll know you're there when you go to the backyard and it seems too easy. There was a point when me and Avery would step into the backyard in Oregon and we'd make every putt. No matter where it was in the yard, it was like a joke. Oh, I'll make it one arm. I'll make it under my, And when at that moment, our practice level went like this. Did our scoring level go down? No. But our practice did. And I don't think you can do that until you've reached those experience hours. So yes, you have to work hard like he does, but once you get to where he is, as long as you maintain your mental and you keep your life in a good place, you'll be playing good golf.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we got time for one last question. Now, Eric and Cale, you talked about you guys are working all the time. You try to squeeze practice in. Paul, you talked about this as a job, 9 to 5. You guys talk about sacrifice. But there's a lot of, we love throwing frisbees. That's why we do what we do. That's why we travel across the country to come to tournaments. What is it about disc golf that makes you smile? Like you were talking about some serious stuff there, but what makes you happy? Why do you play disc golf?
I play disc golf for the people out in front of us. That's pretty much it. I play to entertain them, and I play to be their friend. And the people that I've met along the way, the experiences that I've had from everybody on this panel alone, I've had unbelievable life experiences I would remember when we're 60 off the golf course. And that's why I play. If we didn't have that camaraderie and it was like other sports that I played growing up, then I probably wouldn't be sitting on this panel. So I don't play for the money, as you hear the kids say, or I don't play for the be first place. As you can see, I played 560 tournaments. I didn't always get first. So it's more about seeing this guy right here and knowing that afterwards me and him will have a conversation, and maybe someday we'll have dinner together, and he'll be my friend, and when I have a wedding, he might come to it, right? That's the kind of camaraderie I'm looking for, and I only play disc golf.
Thank you. So that means all of you guys should go invite Dave to dinner at some point. All right, Avery, why do you play disc golf?
That was a good answer, by the way. I think in my younger years, I definitely played to compete and play and play tournaments and play well and finish well, and that was definitely something that drove me as far as drove me as far into the sport as I am now. And I think nowadays is realizing just how special that really is. The people around us, it really is a disc golf family. He points it out perfectly, and I think it's really about us sharing that passion, sharing that love as a family, and growing the sport is really what drives me now. Because I see a lot of potential and it only grows. We touched on a lot of bases, and I'll tell you, but it's really growing the sport and for the love of us and love of the game.
Mr. Macbeth, why do you play disc golf?
I'm not as old and wise as these guys, so it's not about all that stuff. I just like the competition of it, and meeting new people, traveling the world. It's really a great experience, and I really want to be here when the sport explodes. That's the biggest thing I want to see. I know I'm still young. I still have years in this game, and I want to see it explode. I want to see it grow and just see where it goes. So I think that's the biggest thing right now, and I just want to be along for the ride. And if I can help make it happen, that's what I want to do.
Thank you. Eric, why do you play disc golf?
Well, I am as old and wise as those guys down there, so I do it for each and every one of you. I've met some of my best friends, including my girlfriend, playing disc golf, and I owe it to that. And it's just a passion. Everybody in this room, pretty much everybody throws and plays and knows why they play, and it's just there's something about it. It's my passion.
Okay, why do you play disc golf?
Well, I was kind of raised playing a lot of team sports, baseball, basketball, soccer, And the first time I played disc golf, the whole individual aspect about it just completely hooked me right away. I didn't depend on anyone else. It was completely a mental game that I was going to try to conquer. So I'm a competitive person, and if I'm sitting at home for a couple of weeks, I really get the itch to come out and compete against these guys and play a big tournament. It's something that if I don't play for a couple of weeks, the desire just takes over, and it's going to keep me playing for a long time. And I'm hooked.
Okay, and pass that all the way back down the table. Jeremy, what is it about disc golf? Why are you involved in it? That's like a nice question, not like why are you involved in it, but like why do you stay with disc golf, Jeremy? What is it about it?
That's a pretty complex question, but you know, I love the people. I've made so many great friends along the way. Never expected to still be doing this, and I get up each and every day, and I enjoy going to work, and I enjoy talking to everybody and seeing everybody and watching things grow and seeing the positive comments and the positive remarks that are out online, and it just it's a great feeling every day, and I think that everybody that works at Dynamic Discs has that same feeling every day, and we want to allow you guys to have that same feeling every time that you have any experience with Dynamic Discs, whether that's a tournament, the Glass Blown Open, whether that's coming online and picking up an order. Anything we do, we want to make sure you guys all have a great time, and really I love seeing the smiles on everybody's faces, and I love seeing everybody at events like this. It's like a family reunion, and I love it.
Okay, most of the times when I yeah, go ahead, give him a round of applause. Most of the time when I see Eric, I call him Champ just out of respect, but I realized today, if I said Champ to this table, every one of them is going to go, huh? So I want you guys, if you would, please give a round of applause to these men for coming and sitting and answering questions. Thank you guys very much. Okay, so we are officially done with the Q&A. You guys feel free to go grab a drink. Thank you very much for being a part of this. And we're going to break down this stage. And here in about 1 minute or 2 minutes, we're going to get started with our players meeting. We're going to offer a prayer over the tournament. We're going to sing the national anthem. And then Jeremy's going to come up